I asked 100 FPL experts for their Game Week 7 transfer moves, captains and chip strategies so you guys can follow along with the expert trends every single game week. Welcome to FPL Mate, my name is Dan. Today we are back with another FPL Experts video where we're going to be having a look at what all of the top managers are doing this week to see if we can find any trends. So a massive shout out to the 100 surveyed experts who helped us out with their data this week. Really interesting stuff. We've got so much transfer data and a seriously large pool of players for you guys to choose from if you are looking to make some transfers. So strap in guys, the international break is almost over. Let's see what the experts are doing this week. So it seems like a week where there are a lot of transfers being made. Even though we do see 36% of our experts making no transfers this week, there was a lot of wildcards recently, so maybe that has factored in. But we're seeing a lot of our experts making multiple transfers. So first of all, 30% of our experts are making one transfer this week, but we see 10% making two transfers and a further 10% making three or more transfers, with I think one or two of our experts actually making 4 transfers this week. And interestingly, a lot of that does seem to be free transfers. So we're seeing a lot of those free transfers that our experts have been building up now being used. We also see a lot of wildcards this week. We see 14% of our experts on a wildcard this week. I haven't actually made a wildcard video this week. I haven't really found the time. I haven't really been in full flow this week, as some of you guys will know. But yeah, certainly really interesting to see that a lot of wildcards are being used. So yes, as we say, looking at the chips being used by experts this week, 14% are on a wild card this week. We see no triple captains, no free hits, so probably not going to be a week to use either your triple captain or free hit chip. Maybe the wild card though. And we have the bench boost here being used by 18% of our experts. So this is a huge week for a bench boost. Very, very high numbers here. And I think most of the bench boosts will have been used by the end of this game week, with a very few of our experts with their bench boost remaining. So depending on what your bench boost looks like, guys, what your bench looks like, your 4 worst players who are on your bench, this very well could be a week to use that chip. Particularly, you know, you've got Dubravka with a nice fixture this week, for example, against Leeds. So maybe that is going to be a nice option for a bench boost there. So yeah, something to think about. But like I say, there's so many transfers we need to talk about today. So let's go ahead and look at those. But before we do, we got to have a look at the transfer trends in the overall player base and see if our experts agree with the most popular transfers in. And yeah, definitely have something to say on this one. But first of all, let's see what the similarities are. So we've got Semenyo, Voltemada, Timber, and Gabriel. We see all of these players being transferred in by at least a few of our experts this week. So these are definitely in-trend players. You've got players like Haaland, who pretty much every expert has in their team at this point anyway, so no new transfers in for him, with maybe the exception of wildcarders. Not really much interest in Caicedo, Senesi, and Burn. But we actually see a transfer out for Kudus, despite him being one of the most popular transfers in, with no new transfers in for Kudus. His trend is actually going downwards, which is pretty interesting stuff there, really. So looking through these players, Senesi obviously owned by a lot of experts anyway. Burn moving to the left-back position, we're expecting from this game week. It's maybe going to be slightly worse for defensive contributions, but really the only player with significant trend among these players, the overall player-based popular players, is actually Saka. So our experts do like the look of Saka this week. They really, really do. However, he is not the most popular transfer in among experts this week. He's not even the second most popular. So the 2 most popular transfers in among experts for Game Week 8 are not in the top 10 most popular transfers for the overall player base. And we love these weeks, guys, because these are the kind of weeks where hopefully the experts are seeing something that the overall player base are not seeing. And therefore, can we take advantage of that? Can we steal a march on the general player base of FPL by following along with the expert trends? And that's definitely something I'm looking to do this game week, particularly having now seen the expert data. So looking at the transfers out for this week, guys, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys We'll be very happy to see Bruno Fernandes being transferred out. Around a quarter of our experts will be removing Bruno ahead of Game Week 8, and I imagine a lot of wildcarders will be removing Bruno as well. So we're going to see his ownership slash this game week. He's definitely a player that is trending downwards. He's got a fixture against Liverpool this game week, so maybe a pretty nice jumping off point if you are looking to switch Bruno around, reinvest that money elsewhere. A lot of our experts did see Bruno as a bit of a cash cow player. So if there are some expensive players that maybe some people want to go towards or make an upgrade somewhere, then Bruno is very obviously a player that you could remove in order to upgrade elsewhere. Gyökeres, similar situation, another cash cow player, 7 transfers out for him, and he's going to be owned by around half of our experts going into Game Week 8. So still, these two players are going to have significant ownership among experts, but it's really interesting to see these players trending downwards, really. And Jai, similar, very popular player among experts, but he is being sold, 6 transfers out. We see Richarlison losing all of his ownership. So all Richarlison owners among experts are selling him. So if you do have Richarlison in your team, if you're one of the few people who do have him, he's a pretty obvious sell this week. Definitely a player to look at replacing. And we also see the likes of Tarkowski, Watkins, Stack, which is interesting, being removed, as well as Concert, Xavi, and Pedro Porro. So a few Spurs players being removed here. We mentioned Kudus as well earlier as a player who is not exactly super popular among experts going into this new week. No one is buying him in despite his good form. And Aston Villa players being lost as well. But what we're seeing a lot of is a lot of transfers being used, particularly by those who are bench boosting this week. And Stack is an example of that, who has disappointed since a lot of people wildcarded him in a few weeks ago. And maybe a lot of people looking to replace him with some new midfielders emerging as some serious candidates for our FPL teams, which we've got to have a look at next. But before we do, guys, make sure you do drop a like on the video. Massively helps out the channel. Huge support on the buy, sell, keep, avoid video a couple of days ago. Thank you so much for that. We also hit 240,000 subscribers. So yeah, honestly, really pleased. Thank you so much for the support on that last video. Yeah, good to be back, trying to get back in the flow of things. And you guys have been super supportive in enabling me to do that. So yeah, let's crack on. 100 experts, guys. So who is being brought in this game week? Well, Enzo Fernandez, despite that yellow Dorito of death next to his name, is being transferred in by 13 experts this game week. That is significant numbers, and I think if Enzo's flag is removed, and he is supposedly in training this week, if we get some good press conference news from him, I imagine the transfers in for Enzo is going to be even higher. I think without Palmer, Enzo is super advanced, taking a lot of set pieces, and really looks like a brilliant FPL option. So if Palmer is going to be out, if Enzo is going to be available, and it looks like that's going to be the case, then Enzo is going to be the most popular expert transfer in for this game week. And that is interesting because the midfielders being transferred in this week is split. There are multiple midfielders that seem to be transferred in this week, and Sarr is the other one who has been in great form whenever he has been fit and available. Is putting up some of the best underlying numbers as well in the Premier League, as well as backing them up with actual goals, which is really good in this very promising Crystal Palace team. So Enzo and Sarr, these are the two players that maybe the overall player base are not super hyped on, but the experts love these guys. So Enzo, potential penalty taker as well. It's going to be between him and Joao Pedro for penalties for Chelsea whilst Palmer is out. So these are nice picks there. And Sarr is a really nice route into the Crystal Palace team. What is interesting about Sarr is that he's pretty fixture proof. So Bournemouth and Arsenal, they do not scare Sarr in the next 2 fixtures. And after that, actually the fixtures look a lot better for the likes of Palace. We mentioned Saka earlier in the video, 10 transfers in for him. So he is going to be owned by over a quarter of experts this week. And there are a few people making a double switch to kind of remove Gyökeres and bring in Saka. So that's definitely going to be an option for you guys if you don't think that is too sideways. Most experts will just be sticking with Gyökeres, but it is definitely an option to make that switch around if you're looking for a bit of an edge somewhere. Other interesting transfers in are Voltemada and Bowen. These are the 2 most popular forwards to be brought in this week. Voltemada already with 4% ownership last game week, so he is going to be slightly more popular than Bowen. If you are trying to decide between the two, it seems Voltemada may be slightly preferred, but look, these are both interesting transfers for sure. Jurriën Timber is joining Gabriel as a popular Arsenal defender for this week. If you're looking for Arsenal defenders, you've already got Gabriel. Timber is definitely going to be that guy. Joao Pedro, who I'm going to talk about later in the video with our bonus questions, is still being transferred in. He's been transferred out by 1 expert, but transferred in by 3. So actually we're seeing a positive trend for Joao Pedro, despite some pretty weak performances. So make of that what you will. We will, like I say, I want to cover that later in the video. We also see more people transferring in Semenyo. He's going to be at 100% ownership among experts very, very soon. And I know you guys have probably seen a lot of hype around Calvert-Lewin, around FPL content creators recently, but with just 2 transfers in to add to his already 2 owners, it seems that maybe it is a lot of talk around Calvert-Lewin and maybe not so much action. So yes, guys, Calvert-Lewin, not as popular as you think. 2 transfers in is something, but he's certainly not as he's not actually being transferred in as much as it seems like he is. So I guess that's good news there. So let's check out the template before we do. The average Game Week 7 score among experts was 72.2 points. So let me know if you beat the experts in Game Week 7. Hopefully you guys did, or at least, you know, got somewhere similar. Hopefully these videos have helped you do that. More green arrows for the experts. The average rank now up to 1.3 million, which is very impressive, with 37% of our experts now in the top 1 million rank and 3% in the top 100k. So as we go through the season, guys, I do expect these numbers to continue to improve. I am keeping the faith, and you know, the experts are repaying the faith. Hopefully your guys' faith as well, if you have faith in these videos, that the green arrows will continue to come for you guys and for all of us, hopefully. So yeah, that's what the template's looking like. So we've got Dubravka still massively owned, small shift in Raya, 1% down. We see Gabriel 4% up and Van der Ven 1% down. Not too much change in the defense, generally speaking. The midfield seems like it is in transition at the moment. So I think this is going to be a transitional week between what kind of midfielders are popular. Obviously, Semenyo is still really popular, but downward trends to Reinders, Fernandes, and Njai, with Saka now joining the template here. So I think we're going to gradually see a bit of a shift here, and we're going to see some new players like Enzo, like Sarr, come into the template before too long. So I think it's really up to you guys. Do you want to get ahead of the template here? Go for Sarr, go for Enzo, try and get ahead of the game here. Or do you want to just see how things play out and maybe bring them in a little bit later? But look, the midfield template is shifting. We can clearly see that by the trends. As for forwards, no change on Haaland, still 96% owned. Joao Pedro up 2%, 1 transfer out, 3 transfers in. So, yeah, I know he is controversial right now, but he is a player the experts still like. The fixtures are very good for Chelsea, so I think that has a lot to do with that. And Gyökeres down 7%. He is still owned by half. So some suggested transfers, guys. So if you're looking to replace Bruno Fernandes, moving him up to Saka could be very nice indeed if you have a spare Arsenal spot in your team, or if you want to maybe make a double transfer. But if you want to go cheaper and maybe upgrade elsewhere in your squad, maybe you're on a bench boost and you want to add some money to your bench, downgrading Bruno to Enzo or Sarr could be a pretty nice idea. If you want to make a sideways switch like for like and Njai to someone like Enzo could also be a really nice move this week, provided Enzo is fit. As for those forwards, I've gone for Gyökeres to Voltemada as the suggested transfer here. We could also throw Bowen in here as a potential forward option as well, but Voltemada slightly more popular because of his established ownership among experts. And if you're looking for a new defender, you've already got Gabriel. Tarkowski to Timber could work pretty nicely as well. 0.4 million upgrade. If you have it in the bank, you need that extra Arsenal defensive coverage, then yeah, that definitely could work for you. Ben White still injured, by the way. He's missing at the moment, so Timber looks very, very good for minutes still now. So there we go. As for captains, it is a boring one this week, I'm afraid, guys, as we see 95% of our experts going for Haaland as their captain. So that is 99% of Haaland's owners will be captaining him. It's a very straightforward decision for you guys. If you have Haaland, you're probably going to captain him. He had actually a rest in the second game in the international break, Haaland. So really, really good for him. Ready, fit to go for Game Week 8 at home against Everton. It's a pretty nice fixture. Everton, not really the defensive beasts that they were maybe over the last few seasons. They are conceding some chances, and Haaland is just in the form of his life right now. It's a very straightforward captain for this week. However, we do see 2 captains for Salah against Manchester United. As we know, Salah has a phenomenal record against Man United, and actually Salah's form is improving slightly at the moment. 2 captains armbands on Bowen against Brentford, which is maybe an interesting differential to go for. And even as an Arsenal fan and a guy with Eze's football shirt behind me in my videos, I don't really understand this one, but one of our experts is captaining Eze away against Fulham. Look, don't shoot the messenger, guys. I am just here to report the news, report the data. So, yeah, interesting one. That's about all I can say on the Eze one. But, yeah, listen, guys, if you have Haaland, you're probably going to captain him. It's pretty much as simple as that, right? And here are the bonus questions which were asked in the FPL Expert Discord server. And don't forget, guys, if you do want to join the FPL Expert Discord server, you don't have to be an expert. You can also just be a member of the channel. So, yeah, it is one of the rewards for joining as a member of the channel. If you do want to support FPL Mate and all the things we do over here, then you can click on the join button and you will get access. If you're on the starting 11 tier or above, you'll get access to the expert server where you can chat through with the experts, get your team rated in there. We're also doing Rate My Team streams every week. So if you are a starting 11 tier member, we will be doing a Rate My Team stream on Friday. So everyone at the starting 11 tier or above, tomorrow evening, we will be rating you guys as team, hopefully giving you guys some advice. Be interesting to see some of your teams tomorrow. So looking forward to that one. But the questions in question, I suppose. So the first one was, what are your thoughts on Joao Pedro right now? Because I wanted to get the expert opinion on a very controversial FPL pick. So the options were, he's one of the best forward options, and 21%, so over 1 in 5 experts think Joao Pedro is one of the best forward options right now. 58%, which was the most popular answer, was that he's a nice option, but nothing special. So just a nice solid player to have in your squad. And 21% said he's a weak option, but not a priority sell. So if you have him in your team, maybe he is a disappointing player, but you're not going to sell him. And actually 0% of our experts said that he is a player to sell immediately this game week. So I would be very cautious about selling Joao Pedro, but if you don't like Joao Pedro, you're not alone. It's just that he's maybe not a priority sell right now. So the other question was, who is the best 9 million plus player other than Haaland and Salah? So looking at that second premium, and this was an absolute whitewash, to be honest. So I put the options as Saka, Isak, Bruno, and Gyökeres. Nobody said Isak. Nobody said Gyökeres. Only 11% of our experts said Bruno, and 89% of our experts think that Saka is that second, or I guess third best premium option after Haaland and Salah. So if you are looking to go for Haaland and then another, sub 11 million FPL asset, then Saka is the clear choice right now, judging by our experts and what they think. So yeah, there we go. That was the bonus questions, and that is pretty much all of the information and data I have for you today, which was quite a lot. I think there's quite a lot to take in, but hopefully this has really helped you guys with your FPL decision. Apologies, guys, for this video being late again. Yeah, things still not perfect at home. I don't really want to dwell on it too much in this video, but things are improving, and I really appreciate all the supportive messages from you guys recently. It really does mean the world, and I'm sorry I have been unable to reply to everyone, but you guys are awesome and really helping me out so much through this. It's been an amazing distraction, so thank you so much, guys. You really do make a huge difference in my life. So yeah, sloppy stuff out of the way. If you fancy dropping a like on the video, it is appreciated. Do subscribe if you haven't done already, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow for another video. Fingers crossed if I can get one out. Things are just a little slower at the moment, but we'll get there, guys. Thanks so much, guys. Check out myself, keep avoid if you haven't done already, and I'll see you later. Thanks.